The pod that shouldn't exist. The stars were quiet. The space around asteroid field 9X22 was cold, dark, and dead. But something was moving. A small broken ship drifted slowly, like a lost ghost in space. Raylan, a human scavenger, sat inside his old cargo ship named Dust Rat. He looked at the radar. It beeped once. Faint signal. A ship was nearby. No response. No lights. Just floating in space. Raylan grabbed his helmet and stood up. Might be junk, he said to himself, or maybe something good. He connected the docking cable and entered the other ship. The air smelled of burned wires. Lights flickered. No crew in sight. It looked like a merchant freighter, the type that carried goods between moons. But something was strange. Cargo doors were locked with level 5 encryption. Too strong for food or fuel. He pulled out his breaker tool and hacked the lock. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a single pod. A stasis pod. Not for cargo. For life. Raylan walked slowly toward it. The pod was cracked on one side, as if dropped. Frost covered the glass. Inside, he saw something small. Someone. A girl. She was alien. Skin a soft gray blue. Eyes closed. Wires connected to her arms and chest. She looked no older than 10. Her arms had metal cuffs. Her body was thin, weak. Raylan stepped back. What is this? Suddenly, the pod beeped. A light turned green. A soft hiss came from the seal. The girl's eyes twitched. Then, opened. She gasped for air. Raylan froze. She looked around, her eyes wide, confused, afraid. Hey, Raylan said softly. It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. She didn't understand his words, but she stared at him, like she was searching his face for answers. Then she whispered something, not in English, but one word stood out. Raylan. He blinked. What? How do you? Suddenly, the ship shook. His comms device beeped. A message flashed on his screen. Bio-Subject 7 escaped. Reward offered. Dangerous. Return or destroy. Raylan looked back at the girl. She had tears in her eyes. She whispered again. Please, don't let them take me. His heart pounded. He could leave her here. Report the pod. Claim the reward. He needed money. His ship was falling apart. He had debts. But she was just a kid. A scared, broken child. Raylan knelt beside the pod. All right. Come with me. We're getting out of here. He lifted her gently. She was light. Too light. Like she hadn't eaten in weeks. As he carried her to his ship, alarms sounded in the distance. The merchant ship had sent a signal. Someone would come soon. Raylan placed her in his medical bay. She looked up at him with big, strange eyes. Then, without a word, she reached out and touched his arm. Her hand was cold, but he didn't pull away. Who are you? He whispered. The girl didn't answer. She closed her eyes and whispered again. Raylan. He started the engines. The Dust Rat came to life with a groan. Hang on, kid, Raylan said. We're running. Behind him, the merchant ship exploded. A small overload in the core. Maybe a failsafe. Maybe someone didn't want her found. Raylan didn't look back. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why she knew his name. But one thing was clear. This was no normal pod. And that girl, she should not exist. She spoke my name in her sleep. The stars outside the window were silent. Raylan sat beside the alien girl, watching her breathe. Her skin had a soft glow now, faint like moonlight. He had placed her on a medical cot inside his ship's tiny medbay. The Dust Rat was old, and this room wasn't made for real healing. But it was all he had. She was asleep, peaceful, until she wasn't. She twitched. Her lips moved. A soft whisper escaped her mouth, not in English, but Raylan. He froze. The girl had never heard his name. Not once. He had never spoken it near her. Raylan stepped back slowly, heart thudding. He checked the scanner again. Nothing made sense. Her brain waves were strange, not like a child's, not even like an adult's. They moved too fast, sharp, like a machine. But she was alive. Her skin was warm. Her tears had been real. "Who are you?" he muttered again, for the 100th time. He moved to the cockpit, eyes on the star map. He had gone dark. No signals, no broadcasts. His ship was hidden in an empty part of space, near the old mining moons of Sector Kappa 4. Safe, for now. Raylan sat down and looked at his hands. They were shaking. "I should have walked away," he whispered. "I should have left her." But he hadn't. She was still sleeping, breathing slowly now. But her face was tight, like she was trapped in a nightmare. Raylan opened a hidden drawer under the console and pulled out a memory scanner. He had stolen it years ago from a scientist on Mars Outpost 5. He didn't like using it. It was made for reading minds, testing emotions, illegal in half the galaxy. But he had no choice. He gently placed it near the girl's forehead. The scanner hummed. Lights blinked. And then he saw it. Not with his eyes, but in his mind. A cold room, white lights, metal walls, shadows moving behind glass. A voice. Subject 7 shows signs of emotional recall. Increase memory wipe. The girl, young, small, crying, begging. Tubes in her arms, metal bands on her head. Another voice. Do not speak to it. It is property. She was alone, surrounded by people in suits, treated like a test animal. Shoved, chained, injected. Raylan pulled the scanner off, breathing hard. It had only been a few seconds, but it felt like hours. His chest hurt. That little girl, she had never seen a sunrise, never felt grass, never had a family. She had been born in a lab, created, made to be something. Raylan leaned back against the wall, heart pounding. He looked at her again. She was awake now, looking at him, her big eyes calm, but sad. "You spoke my name," he said softly. She didn't answer. She only pointed to the scanner. Then she touched her head. She had read his mind. Somehow, she knew him, and maybe part of him already knew her too. "Do you understand me?" Raylan asked. The girl blinked, then slowly nodded. He sat down beside her, unsure what to say next. "You need a name," he said. "Can't keep calling you kid." She tilted her head. He pointed to himself. "Raylan." Then pointed at her. "You?" She paused, thought for a long time. Then placed her hand on her chest. Rye. "Leary," Raylan repeated. She nodded. There. A name. She had one now. And for the first time, a small smile touched her lips. Raylan smiled back. But the moment didn't last. ALERT. Incoming transmission blinked on his screen. Unauthorized. Local signal. Short range. Raylan jumped to his feet. He opened the message. It was scrambled, but he could read it. "We know what you took. Return the subject. Last warning." Raylan slammed the console shut. Someone was close. Too close. He ran to the pilot's seat. Started the engines. "Hang on," he said to Leary. "We're moving again." The dust rat took off, disappearing into the black void of space. Behind them, a stealth ship uncloaked. Long, sharp, military grade. They were being hunted. But Raylan didn't care anymore. He looked at Leary through the cockpit window. She was still smiling. Still small. Still strange. But he had made a promise now. He would protect her, even if the whole galaxy came after them. Bounty for a broken girl. The bounty posters went live within hours. Across dirty spaceports, deepnet comms, black markets, and bounty hunter feeds, one message repeated. Wanted. Human scavenger. Name: Raylan Voss. Crime: harboring a Class 7 biothreat. Target: one alien girl. Alive or terminated, 100,000 credits. Upload DNA proof for payment. No questions asked. It was everywhere. And bounty hunters were listening. Raylan didn't know it yet. He was still flying through the dark zone of Kappa 4, heading for a forgotten mining moon called Tellus Drift, a dead rock where old freighter captains used to hide. He needed fuel, food, answers. Lyri sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the stars. She didn't speak much, but she watched everything. Raylan had tried to explain what a bounty was. He drew it for her, a picture of him, a credit sign, and a big red X. Lyri understood. She looked at him, her small hand resting on his sleeve. "You still help me?" she asked softly, in slow English. Raylan looked at her. Her voice was small, unsure. "Yeah," he said. "I still help you." She smiled again. That same soft smile. But this time, it looked sad. At Tellus Drift, the dust rat landed near the edge of the scrap town. The place smelled of oil and rust. Old bots walked past carrying metal boxes. A few people glanced at Raylan's ship, but didn't ask questions. That's why he chose this place. No one cared about your story. Raylan covered Lyri in a thick brown cloak, her face hidden, her glow masked. They entered a parts shop run by a wrinkled old man named Bor. "You still live," Bor grunted. "Thought the law took you last year." "Not yet," Raylan said. "I need core rods and fuel gel." "Fast." Bor nodded. "Can do. Expensive now. Trade." Raylan handed over a rare crystal chip he took from the merchant freighter. Bor's eyes widened. "Where'd you get this?" "Don't ask." Behind them, someone entered the shop. A tall man in armor. Sharp eyes. Hunter's gear. Raylan stiffened. The man looked at Raylan, then at Lyri's small form under the cloak. "You got a kid?" the man asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. Raylan forced a laugh. "Yeah. Adopted. Real quiet." The hunter smiled. "That's so." Raylan grabbed Lyri's hand. "We're leaving." He didn't look back, but he felt the hunter's eyes burning into his back. Outside the ship, Raylan moved fast. He opened the dust rat's side hatch and pushed Lyri inside. "Strap in," he said. As he turned to lift the fuel rods, a voice called out behind him. "Raylan Voss." He spun. The hunter was back, with two more behind him, guns in hand. Raylan pulled his own weapon. "Not today." The lead hunter smiled. "It's not about you, Voss. Just the girl. Give her up. You walk away. She's not what they say." "I don't care. The credits are real." Raylan fired first. The blast hit a barrel. Fire erupted. Sparks flew. Lyri screamed from inside the ship. Raylan ducked behind cover. "Lyri, lock the door." She pressed a button. The hatch sealed with a hiss. Raylan rolled to the side, firing at the hunters. One went down. Another shot grazed his shoulder. But before the third could fire again, the hunter's gun exploded in his hands. He screamed, falling back, sparks flying from his armor. Raylan looked up. Lyri stood at the cockpit window, eyes glowing faintly, her fingers touching the ship's control board. She had hacked the hunter's weapon from across the landing zone. Raylan finished the job. When it was over, he limped into the ship, blood dripping down his arm. Lyri ran to him. "You hurt?" "I'm fine," he grunted. "You did that." She nodded. "I didn't teach you that," he said. She looked scared. "I'm sorry." "No," he said slowly. "Don't be." He sat down and breathed hard. The pain in his arm was sharp, but what scared him more was what Lyri had just done. She had connected to a weapon, a military-grade weapon, from far away, without touching it. No implant. No code. Just her. Later, Raylan checked the ship's systems. Leary sat near him, quiet again. He looked at her. "What else can you do?" She didn't answer. But after a long pause, she whispered, "They said, I can talk to machines, but they were angry when I did. They said it made me dangerous." Raylan leaned back. He realized something. Leary wasn't just smart. She wasn't just a test subject. She was something the galaxy feared, because they didn't understand her. And now, she was evolving. The truth behind her eyes. The ship was silent again. Raylan stood alone in the dim light of the mid-bay. He stared at the screen in front of him. Project LIRI. Lines of text rolled slowly across the monitor. Living interface for reactive intelligence. Status. Terminated. Purpose. Control ancient alien systems. Key-level clearance encoded into bioneural pathways. Warning. Emotional bonding with Subject 7 causes instability. Keep isolated. Do not allow attachments. Raylan's fists clenched. Leary was never meant to be loved. She was made to be used. Controlled. Feared. But now she was sitting in the corner of his ship, playing quietly with a tiny music orb Raylan gave her. She liked soft sounds, gentle notes. Nothing loud. Just calm. Peace. Something she never had. Raylan couldn't stop thinking about her eyes. Not just the color. Not just the glow. But what was inside them? Pain. Wonder. Hope. And a question she hadn't spoken yet, but he knew it was coming. Why did they make me? And why did they want me dead? Later that night, Leary sat beside him at the control deck. She pressed her palm to the glass and looked at the stars. Raylan handed her a warm drink made from recycled protein fluid. It didn't taste great, but she smiled anyway. She always smiled at small things. "Leary," Raylan said quietly, "can I ask you something?" She looked at him and nodded. "What do you remember before I found you?" She was silent for a long time. Then, in a soft voice, she said, "I remember lights, cold floors, voices behind glass. They called me it. They asked me questions I didn't understand. They hurt me when I gave wrong answers." Raylan's jaw tightened. "I remember one woman. She was different. She gave me a name. She said I wasn't a weapon. She told me to hide it, that I should pretend. Do you know her name?" Leary nodded. "Dr. Marine." Raylan froze. He remembered that name. Dr. Yana Marine, a famous AI specialist. She vanished 3 years ago after refusing to weaponize a project for the Central Galactic Council. They called her a traitor. Now it made sense. "She was your creator," Raylan said. "She tried to save you." Leary blinked. "She called me daughter before they took her away." Raylan didn't know what to say. He wanted to hug her, protect her, but more than that, he wanted to destroy every lab that had ever hurt her. Leary reached out and placed her small hand on Raylan's. "Why am I dangerous?" she asked. He looked into her eyes, saw the storm inside them. "You're not," he said, "but you scare the people who are." 3 days later, Raylan flew to a hidden relay satellite near the edge of a dying planet. It was an old comm tower used during the minor wars. No guards, no patrols, but it had something important: access to locked government records. He plugged in a stolen key drive. Files opened. Hundreds of projects, human experiments, secret cloning, brain implants, half alien, half machine hybrids. Raylan's hands trembled. He searched for Project LIRI again. This time, he found videos. In one file, Leary sat in a room. Metal walls. No toys. No warmth. A doctor stood behind the glass. "Test 47, the voice said. "Link the subject to the alien core fragment." In the video, Leary touched a glowing metal cube. It lit up. Symbols rose into the air. Power flooded the room. Lights shorted. The glass cracked. Leary screamed and collapsed. They didn't rush to help. They just took notes. Another file. A different time. This time, Leary was older. She looked up at the doctor. Dr. Marine. "Why don't I have a mother?" Leary asked. Marine sat on the floor with her. "You weren't born like others," she said, "but that doesn't mean you don't deserve love." "Am I a mistake?" "No, sweetheart," the woman said, voice breaking. "You're my miracle." Raylan's chest ached. These weren't just files. They were pieces of Leary's soul. He copied everything. Every video. Every secret. The galaxy needed to see this. Leary deserved to be more than a file marked terminated. Back on the ship, Raylan showed Leary one of the videos. She watched quietly, eyes wide. Tears slid down her face. "That was me," she whispered. I forgot her voice. Raylan sat beside her. "She loved you," he said, "and I think she's still out there." Leary looked at him. "You think she's alive?" Raylan nodded. "I think they hid her, or locked her away. Maybe she tried to stop what they were doing. And they punished her for it." Leary looked down. "Can we find her?" Raylan smiled gently. "Yes, we'll try." For the first time, Leary leaned against his side. Not because she was scared, but because she felt safe. Raylan wrapped his arm around her. He didn't care about the bounty, or the danger, or the rules. This wasn't about survival anymore. This was about truth. And family. Breaking into Station Null. The stars around Station Null were quiet. Too quiet. Raylan's ship, Dust Rat, drifted toward the massive black station like a dying leaf floating toward a storm. It was shaped like a dagger. Sharp edges, no windows, no signals. Not on any map. Not on any official record. But it was real. And it was waiting. Raylan had seen many things in his years as a scavenger. Derelict cruisers, broken colonies, even battlefield ruins. But Station Null was something different. It was alive in a way machines shouldn't be. It breathed. It watched. It listened. Leary stood beside him, wearing a gray cloak and a small device Raylan had built from scrap. Something that could shield her signal. But it wouldn't last long. Not in a place like this. "You sure she's in there?" Raylan asked, staring at the station's dark surface. Leary nodded. Her voice was quiet, but certain. "I feel her. She's hurt, trapped, but alive." Raylan took a deep breath. "Then we bring her back. Inside the beast." Getting inside wasn't easy. The main dock was guarded by 2 patrol drones and an AI checkpoint. Raylan powered down his ship and drifted past them using only momentum. Old trick. Dangerous, but it worked. They docked silently in a maintenance port. No alarms. No greetings. Only silence. Raylan opened the hatch and stepped into the station with Leary right behind him. The air was cold. Too clean. The walls were smooth, dark metal. No signs, no maps. Just long halls that twisted like veins. "This place gives me the creeps," Raylan muttered. Leary touched the wall and closed her eyes. "The machines here, they know me. Is that good or bad?" "I don't know." Ghosts of the past. As they moved deeper inside, Raylan saw things he couldn't explain. Chambers filled with empty stasis pods. Labs with shattered glass and dried blood. Cages. Some had names scratched into the walls. Subject 3, Unit X-17. Failure. Raylan's stomach turned. "This was a prison," he said. Leary nodded. "For people like me." They reached a control room. The monitors were dark, but the data cores were still warm. Raylan plugged in his hack drive. Files flooded the screen. Project Phoenix. Bioweapon rejection. Project Hollow. Neural clone collapse. Project Lyra. Interface asset escaped. Dr. Marine. Detained. Location. Core zone. Raylan's heart jumped. She's here. Leary smiled, but then her smile faded. She's not alone, she whispered. Something else is here. Something old. The core zone. The path to the core zone was guarded by heavy doors and drone sentries. Raylan used EMP darts and stealth movement, disabling the machines one by one. Leary helped, using her strange gift to override locks just by touching them. But as they reached the last chamber, an alarm blared. AL alert. Subject 7 detected. Recapture in progress. Raylan cursed. They know we're here. From the shadows, tall armored units stepped out. Not drones. Soldiers. And they weren't human. These were void-touched, cybernetic mercenaries who sold their minds for upgrades. Their faces were cold metal. Their eyes glowed red. The lead unit spoke. Return the girl. This is not your fight, scavenger. Raylan raised his weapon. She's under my protection. You'll die for her. Raylan didn't blink. Then I'll die with her. The room exploded in fire and bullets. Raylan moved fast, taking cover, shooting with precision. Leary screamed as one of the soldiers grabbed her. But before he could pull her away, her hands lit up with blue light. She reached into his body, not physically, but mentally, and shut him down. The soldier collapsed, twitching. The others hesitated. Leary stepped forward, glowing brighter now. She wasn't scared. She wasn't hiding. She was fighting. Raylan finished off the last 2 soldiers. His shoulder burned, and blood dripped from his arm, but he was still standing. Leary ran to him. Are you okay? I've had worse, he grunted. She helped him stand. Together, they opened the final door. Reunion. The room was small, quiet. Inside, a woman sat in a chair, pale, thin, worn down by years of captivity. But her eyes, they were the same as Leary's. Soft, strong, sad. Mom, Leary whispered. The woman looked up. Her voice cracked. Leary? Raylan stepped back. He let them have the moment. The girl ran into her arms. They held each other and cried. Dr. Marine touched her daughter's face. You're alive. You survived. Leary nodded, tears falling. Raylan saved me. The woman looked at him. Thank you. He shrugged. Couldn't leave her in a crate. Dr. Marine smiled through her tears. You have no idea what you've done. She's the last of something special. Something ancient. She's not a weapon. She's a key. The old machines, the alien tech buried across the stars. They respond to her. She's the missing piece. I know, Raylan said. And I don't care. She's a kid first. A person. Not a tool. Dr. Marine nodded. Then help me get her out of here, before they come back. Raylan reloaded his weapon. They're already coming. They called him Alien Lover. The galaxy was burning with rumors. Raylan Voss. Human. Scavenger. Fugitive. He had been many things across his rough life. But now, one title followed him across every planet. Every outpost. Every black market data feed. Alien Lover. Not just for saving Leary, but for standing between her and the galaxy that wanted her dead. The escape from Station Null. They ran through Station Null's collapsing halls. Behind them, warning sirens screamed. Core breach. Evacuate. Hostile interface detected. The ancient machine buried in the station had awakened, drawn to Leary's presence. It wasn't human. It wasn't made by any race known in the records. It was older, smarter, hungry. And now, it was alive. Raylan carried Dr. Marine on his back, her body weak from years of captivity. Leary led the way. Her hand glowed with soft blue light as she hacked doors open without touching them. They reached the hangar just as the floors cracked behind them. Raylan dropped Marine into the co-pilot seat of the Dust Rat and shouted, Leary, now. Leary turned and held out both hands. The hangar doors exploded open, flames chasing them. They took off just as Station Null began to fall in on itself, folding like paper, vanishing into a dark hole of light. Gone. The galaxy reacts. Within hours, the feeds were filled. Breaking. Human scavenger blows up military science facility. Wanted. RAYLUD and VOSS. Charges include treason, aiding alien tech, kidnapping, biothreat release. Public poll. Should Earth revoke citizenship of alien sympathizers? Anonymous soldier speaks. He protected it like it was his daughter. Raylan watched the screen in silence. Leary sat next to him, clutching a pillow. Her face was blank. She saw the word they used again and again. It. Not girl. Not child. Just it. He speaks. Raylan turned on his own signal. Not encrypted. Not hidden. Public broadcast. He stared into the camera. Tired. Bloody. Angry. If anyone's listening, then listen well. He leaned forward. She's not an it. Her name is Leary. She's a child. And you tried to kill her before she ever had a chance to live. You built her in a lab. You caged her. You used her. Then you blamed her for surviving. She's not your weapon. She's not your property. And if standing by her makes me your enemy. He paused. Then I'm proud to be your enemy. He cut the signal. New enemies, new allies. The reaction was instant. Some call him a traitor, a madman, a disgrace to humanity. But others whispered his name with awe. He's not just protecting her. He's teaching us who we've become. Is it treason to care? If he's wrong, why does it feel like he's right? In the underground nets, rebels and outcasts began following his path. They started painting walls with strange symbols, the same symbols Leary awakened inside Station Null. The symbols were spreading. So was the idea. Back on the run, Raylan moved the dust rat through forgotten wormholes, broken jump relays, unguarded asteroid trails. He couldn't stay anywhere for more than a day. Patrols were hunting him now. Fast, quiet, brutal. Inside the ship, Dr. Marine worked on decoding Leary's genetic map. She's changing, the scientist said, amazed. Her body's learning how to heal itself. Her connection to machines. It's expanding. She doesn't just talk to tech now. She feels it. Leary stood nearby, listening. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. I don't want to be special, she whispered. Raylan kneeled beside her. You're not special because of what they made you. You're special because of what you chose. To trust me. To be brave. To live. They find her. On the moon of Kaltros 9, it finally happened. A patrol ship caught them landing. They surrounded the hangar in minutes. Raylan and Leary stepped out with their hands up. Leary whispered, "We could fight." Raylan shook his head. Not here. Not with people watching. Soldiers moved closer. Guns raised. The leader shouted, "By order of the Galactic Council, surrender the biothreat." Raylan raised his voice. "She's not a threat. She saved lives. Ask the people of Telrun. Ask the miners she healed." "We don't answer to rebels," the soldier growled. And then Leary stepped forward. She didn't run. She didn't fight. She spoke. Her voice wasn't loud, but it echoed across the hangar. "I forgive you." Everyone stopped. Even the soldiers. "I forgive you for being afraid of me. For hurting me. I don't want to be your enemy. I want to help." Her hand glowed, and she placed it gently on the ground. A soft pulse spread through the floor. Machines nearby stopped buzzing. Lights warmed. The broken systems flickered back to life. One of the soldiers' weapons sparked and died. Another fell to his knees. "She's not a monster," he whispered. "She's light." The galaxy stood still. Warships floated in silence. Thousands of them. From Earth, Mars, the moon colonies, even from alien worlds that had once hated each other. They now shared one goal: Stop the girl. Leary. The key. The child they once created, then caged, now feared more than ever. She had gone from test subject to symbol, from lab experiment to light. And now she stood at the center of it all. The final destination, Ellis Prime. Raylan's ship, Dust Rat, landed on the surface of Ellis Prime, an ancient world filled with alien ruins and forgotten power. Leary had seen it in her dreams for weeks. Octomarine believed it was once the heart of a great alien civilization, one that vanished long before humans learned to walk upright. Now it called to Leary, not with words, but with songs. When she stepped off the ship, the ground lit beneath her feet, symbols rose in the air, the sky shimmered. She was waking something, and the galaxy knew it. The broadcast. Before the first shot could be fired, Raylan opened a signal again, broadcasting live across the galaxy. His face was bruised, tired, but calm. "I won't beg," he said. "I won't try to convince anyone." He stepped aside. Leary stepped forward. The camera zoomed on her. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just spoke. "My name is Leary," she said. "I was made in a lab, but I am not a machine. I was called a weapon, but I have never wanted to hurt anyone." She looked into the camera like she was speaking to every person, everywhere. "I only wanted to live, to laugh, to feel the sun." She placed her hand on her chest. "This heart beats like yours. I feel pain. I feel joy. I dream. I hope. Isn't that what life means?" Silence. Across thousands of ships, commanders paused. Citizens froze before their screens. Even some bounty hunters lowered their guns. The attack begins, but not all hearts listened. One warlord shouted across the fleet channel, "She's playing you. She'll open that ancient tech and erase us all." A single missile launched. Then another. Raylan grabbed Leary. "Run." But Leary didn't move. She turned and walked toward the ancient alien gate in the ground. The missiles streaked through the sky, then stopped midair, floating. Leary's eyes glowed. Her hands rose slowly. She wasn't angry. She wasn't afraid. She was in control. Machines obeyed her, not because she forced them, but because she connected with them. Gently, peacefully. One by one, the missiles turned to dust in the wind. The moment the galaxy stood still. Then, something unbelievable happened. From the sky, a second voice echoed. Soft, deep, ancient. Not from a ship, not from a machine. From the planet itself. The alien gate opened. A glowing figure stepped forward. Not a creature, not a god, but a memory made real. A hologram of the ones who built the stars. They spoke in a voice everyone could understand, because it spoke to the heart. "She is the seed of peace. You judged her for fear, but she came not to destroy you. She came to remind you what it means to be alive." Across the stars, ships shut down their weapons. Commanders cried in silence. On Earth, a child watching the broadcast whispered, "She's like me." On Mars, a former bounty hunter turned off his gun and sat alone, staring at the stars. In space, the fleet commanders stood down. No order was given. They just knew. There was no war today. Only a decision, to go forward, or fall back into fear. Leary's choice. Raylan stepped beside Leary as the ancient gate pulsed with power. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said softly. "We did it." The gate offered her something. Knowledge, power, control over systems across the stars. But she turned away. "I don't want to rule," she said. "I want to heal." She closed the gate, not with force, but with a song from her dream. A lullaby Dr. Marine used to hum behind the loud glass. Aftermath. Weeks passed. The bounty on Raylan was removed. The council held emergency meetings. They had seen something that shook them. Not just power, but mercy. Leary didn't disappear. She traveled, quietly, with Raylan and Marine, from planet to planet, fixing broken systems, healing sick machines, helping those who had no voice. People called her many things: the Machine Whisperer, the Last Key, the Alien Angel. But to Raylan, she was still just Leary, a kid who liked soft music, warm blankets, and stars. Final scene. One evening, on a small green moon, Leary sat with Raylan beside a campfire. She looked up at the stars. "They hated me," she said. "Then they feared me. Then they listened. Do you think they'll ever love me?" Raylan put his arm around her. "They already do." She leaned on his shoulder. And far above them, 1,000 stars blinked like they were smiling. For the first time in history, the galaxy stood still, not because it was afraid, but because it finally understood.